Remember when you ate your lunch at a high school cafeteria? While the surroundings may look a bit different, a lot of things are the same. For example, as kids, the last thing on our minds was food safety or sanitation. These were things we took for granted. But as an adult and a parent, I don't take anything for granted anymore. And when it comes to a school cafeteria, you and I both know that having a safe and clean eating area requires a lot of work and planning. Without a doubt, one of the biggest challenges for kitchen staff is maintaining a pest-free facility. And here's one of the toughest pest problems in school kitchens, the German cockroach. Did you know that this guy can squeeze into a crack only 1/10 of an inch wide? A single crumb can feed him for a week. And he carries bacteria such as salmonella, viruses, and other disease-causing organisms. You don't want this guy hanging around your food. But cockroaches aren't the only pests found in school kitchens. All this food and water, as well as the many hiding places, make it very attractive to the other kitchen pests, mice and flies. Controlling pests is always a tough job, made tougher by the fact that this is a food handling area. And of course, pesticides themselves are dangerous if used improperly. Children, scientists warn us, are particularly at risk. What's the solution? IPM, or Integrated Pest Management, a new program designed to provide an environmentally sensitive approach to pest control. IPM uses all suitable control tactics, both chemical and non-chemical, to minimize risks to people and the environment while controlling pests. The foundation of IPM is good sanitation. It's more than just cleanliness. It's also changing the kitchen environment to make it less favorable for pests. IPM also uses physical and mechanical control methods like light traps and techniques that help make buildings more pest-proof. Biological controls such as living organisms that attack pests can also play an important role in an IPM program. Finally, most IPM programs include the use of pesticides, chemicals that kill, sterilize, or repel pests. As the pyramid suggests, pesticides are the smallest part of a well-balanced IPM program based on multiple control tactics. There are 4 steps necessary to put IPM to work for your school. First, the inspection. This includes looking for pests and the sanitation conditions that could lead to pest problems. Secondly, identification of the pest. This includes knowing about the habits and needs of a particular pest. Thirdly, knowing the pest problem sites and the pest involved, it's time to take action using knowledge of the various control tactics. The final and 4th step of the IPM process is to evaluate and follow up on the control program you've put in place. This includes keeping records of changes in pest populations and making necessary changes to the program to manage the progress. During the next few minutes, we'll follow Larry, an actual IPM technician, as he works through the 4-step IPM process. The time of day when a school is serviced is important. In some states, this time may even be specified by law. Larry's scheduled to visit the school cafeteria at the end of the day, to allow plenty of time between any pesticide application he may make and the time when workers return to prepare the next meal. This is also a time when children are not present. Larry's IPM inspection begins with a visit to the kitchen manager, where he is brought up to date on pest problems the staff has noticed. This visit also sends an important message to the staff that participation in IPM is important. As he inquires about progress made since his last visit, he learns that cockroaches have been reported in the dishwashing and grill areas. There are two objectives in an IPM inspection. First, locate and report correctable sanitation conditions that might lead to pest problems. Second, identify evidence of active pest problems. All pests, like cockroaches, flies, and rodents, require three things to survive: harborage, that is, a suitable home, food, and water. Where all these things exist together, pests thrive. Where one or more of these elements are missing, pest problems cease. The inspector's report should identify situations where these elements exist together, as well as recommend how pest survival might be reduced. The IPM technician has to be a detective of sorts. He or she has to know more than what the criminal looks like. The pest's habits and biology are also important. Take our friend the German cockroach, for example. He's one of the toughest school pests because of his ability to thrive and multiply quickly in kitchens. Correctly identifying him is important. He's relatively small in size and has a pair of brown stripes on his pronotum, the plate behind the head. He stays close to warm, humid areas, especially areas near water, and spends the day in narrow, protected cracks or corners. In fact, German cockroaches spend 70 to 80% of their time in such hiding places, close to food and water sources. Let's see how Larry deals with this pest as he starts his inspection. His first priority is to systematically tour all parts of the facility. Although the kitchen looks pretty clean, he notes a few problems: spilled food under kitchen equipment, a leaky drain, and cardboard boxes in the storage area. Food, water, and harborage for pests. Something as simple as discarding the cardboard boxes that food items come in can make a big difference in the attractiveness of a food area for pests. Larry also notices that the top of this utility sink has been caulked to help limit cockroach harborage, but the bottom has not. To be effective, caulking must completely seal off these areas. These are the kinds of things that should be noted on the inspection form. The most important inspection tool is a flashlight. With a flashlight and a mirror, cockroach and other insect hiding places can be easily spotted. Note the fecal specks that are common around cockroach harborages. Flashlights can also reveal damage to packaging caused by rodents or spilled food materials that could provide breeding sites for flies or other insects. Several other tools of the trade can greatly improve your pest inspection. Sticky traps help locate pest-infested sites. This trap, placed out during a previous inspection, shows that cockroaches are present and active nearby. Place these in corners and along walls or near potential cockroach harborage sites. A screwdriver is useful to gain quick access to motor areas of equipment, light switch panels, and other electrical and mechanical sites. All good hiding places for cockroaches because of the warmth generated by motors. Once a suspected harborage is located, a flushing agent is used to determine whether cockroaches are present. Flushing agents are chemicals that are highly irritating to insects. By injecting a flushing agent into a cockroach harborage, the insects are driven into the open where they can be seen. Flushing agents typically break down very quickly after application, so afterward a more permanent treatment is needed. Non-toxic paraffin-based bait blocks are a great tool for monitoring rodent activity. Bait blocks can be held in place with a nail or flag and checked during inspection for evidence of feeding. Once pest activity sites are located and a pest identified, it's time to take corrective action. An IPM technician needs to be familiar with a wide variety of techniques. Caulking is a very useful control tactic for denying cockroaches and other pests access to food and water. Good places for caulk include pipe penetrations into floors and walls, crevices in tables and kitchen equipment, flashing attached to walls, and structural flaws. Many caulking materials are available, including silicone and latex-based caulks and quick-drying concrete. General-purpose caulk and caulk guns can be used for these jobs, or special caulks and guns designed specifically for pest control can be used and may offer added ease of use. This foam gun, designed especially for IPM use, dispenses an expanding foam that can seal larger voids and openings. Portable vacuum cleaners provide another non-chemical control method for cockroaches. Vacuum cleaners, such as this unit designed specifically for pest control, can quickly remove large numbers of cockroaches from their harborages. Vacuums are also useful for removing food particles and dead insects, which can attract other pests. Special light traps designed for use in food handling areas can be used to reduce flies. To be most effective, place light traps 3 to 6 feet off the ground. Avoid placing them where they can be seen from the outside, as this may attract pests to doorways and indoors. Rodent traps, ranging from the old-fashioned snap trap to mechanical multi-catch traps and glue boards, work well in kitchen areas. Put traps next to the wall because that's where rodents travel. But remember, these must be checked daily to prevent dead or dying rodents from remaining in food areas. Unfortunately, few biological controls are available for indoor use. Pathogenic fungi are one example of how biocontrol may become more practical in the future. This plastic harborage container holds special fungi that will infect any cockroach that enters. Infected cockroaches then help spread the disease among their brothers. There are many low-risk, low-toxicity pesticide products available today for IPM programs. Such low-impact pesticides pose little risk to people, non-target animals, or the environment. Boric acid is one low-impact pesticide that is inexpensive, long-lasting, and very effective in dry areas like wall voids and cracks and crevices. Apply it using a bellows-type duster. Although toxic if swallowed, boric acid is non-toxic on the skin and poses little risk when applied properly. Pesticide baits provide effective alternatives to chemical sprays. Baits come in a variety of forms, ranging from these pellet-like baits enclosed in plastic stations to special dusts and gels to these slow-acting rodent baits served up in tamper-resistant containers. Gel and dust bait can be applied to cracks around the sink where cockroaches have been sighted. Do this before sealing the cracks with a silicone-type caulk. Pesticide dusts and sprays should be used only when absolutely necessary. There are times, however, when dusts and sprays provide the only really fast and efficient way to control pests. For those times, confine the application to crevices and void areas. This is called a directed placement treatment. Remember, the cockroach spends 3/4 of his life in narrow crevices. It makes more sense to put sprays where the pest stays rather than where he simply crosses. Especially since, with many pesticides, it takes more than a few minutes, sometimes even hours of exposure to the poison to kill a cockroach. Never spray floors and baseboards. It's ineffective and needlessly increases the chance of exposing people to the pesticides. Remember, always read the label before using any pesticide. This label is a legal document that tells you exactly how and where you should use the product. If you ignore or fail to follow the instructions on the pesticide label, you're breaking the law. Larry completes the IPM process by evaluating the progress made since his last visit. He does this by using a monitoring strategy. Monitoring is regularly observing and keeping systematic records of pest activity over time. Monitoring allows you to evaluate the progress of your IPM program. Sticky traps are one excellent monitoring tool, but only if records are kept of the trap location and the approximate number of pests captured between visits. If pest numbers in the trap stay the same or increase, the monitoring program is telling you that a different control tactic may be required, or that there's an unidentified harborage site somewhere. Of course, the most important component of the evaluation process is communicating with and getting feedback from the kitchen and maintenance staff. Following a service visit, the IPM technician should clearly explain the problems noted during the inspection and make plans to work with the staff toward a solution. whether it's removing canned goods from their cardboard containers or ordering equipment upgrades. The role of the IPM coordinator requires educating the staff and maintaining open lines of communication. Even if it requires a meeting with the maintenance department supervisor to get results, it's all part of the job. Staff trainings, posters, and stand-up cards are all tools that can be used to correct and change staff behavior. Examples are provided in your workbook. If the added awareness improves the effectiveness of your program, it's well worth the extra effort. Maybe more things have changed than I thought. Do these kids take a clean and safe eating area for granted? You bet they do. They should. And if we're doing our jobs, it should be a piece of cake. That sounds pretty good. What if there's any cake left?